Carl Pope from the Sierra Club, thank you for joining. It's an honor to speak with you. What are you working on right now? I mean, there's so many environmental initiatives that have to be happening.
Well, the reason I'm here today is because one of the most important things that's happening isn't just an environmental issue. We're facing a very serious threat to this country's democratic traditions. And it's the Sierra Club's view that if you're going to protect the environment, you need to allow ordinary people the right to protect their rights. We have a very strange, almost Alice in Wonderland legal doctrine emerging from the U.S. Supreme Court, which says that corporations are people, money is speech, and therefore that the First Amendment of the Constitution protects the rights of corporations in unlimited degree and without even disclosing their identities to bribe public officials by spending money on their campaigns. And if you really want to understand why it is so hard, for example, to get Congress to take action to put the United States on a clean energy path, something which 95% of the American people want to do, why do the Koch brothers in the oil industry have so much power? It's because of these Supreme Court rulings that have given corporations special access to decision-making.
Can environmentalism, which lives in some shape or form in all Americans, one would think, can that really be the weapon in defeating and taking down Citizens United, and taking back democracy?
Well, I don't think environmentalism alone can solve that problem. I think what we need is for all Americans who believe in the Constitution, who believe in the principle that every American is supposed to have the same influence over what their government does. People who don't believe that corporations are human beings, which the last time I checked, it's very difficult to find their bodily organs. They don't have hearts. All Americans who share those values, whether they're with the Sierra Club or they might be with a civil rights organization or they might be with the Tea Party. We need to bring all Americans who want to defend our Constitution together to say to the U.S. Supreme Court, enough is enough.
I mean, the modern assault of the environmental movement has more often than not come from the right, come from Republicans or conservatives, and yet conservative comes from the word to conserve. What happened?
We don't have conservatism really in an organized form in the United States. What we have is predatory capitalism. And the people who practice predatory capitalism, people like the Koch brothers, call themselves conservatives. But let me tell you, the core conservative value is prudence. It's being careful. It's looking at the unintended consequences of what you do. And those, as you say, are the core values of modern environmentalism. They're also what the hard right in Congress is completely ignoring. I mean, it's really quite astonishing when you look at the fact that we now have a U.S. Congress which says we're going to keep on mortgaging America's future to the Venezuelans and the Saudis by continuing to keep this country addicted to foreign oil. I mean, even President Bush understood that we're addicted to foreign oil. And yet this Congress is utterly unwilling, even given the deficit problem, to eliminate unneeded tax breaks for the richest corporations on the planet because they happen to be oil companies.
Of course, the dilemma then is that there are those who do recognize we need to stop importing oil from Hugo Chavez or from the Saudi family, and yet it could mean, to them it means more drilling here at home, it means more hydrofracking, harmful environmental things.
Well, first of all, we are in fact drilling more at home, and that's not necessarily a bad thing if we would do it right. If we're going to use oil, we ought to be willing to produce it. If we're going to use natural gas, we ought to be willing to produce it. Yeah. But we ought to regulate it carefully. We ought to keep it out of places it doesn't belong. And the most important thing is we shouldn't waste a drop of oil or a cubic foot of natural gas. And right now, in this economy, roughly 50% of the fossil fuel we use doesn't even deliver a useful service. It's actually wasted to heat the great American sky. Last time I tested, the great American sky did not need to be heated by burning coal and oil. We waste so much of the fossil fuel we use. That's the biggest opportunity we have.
Where does what the Sierra Club is famous for doing, where does that meet green manufacturing, green jobs?
Well, when the Sierra Club 5 years ago decided it had to prioritize climate, we did have to recognize a new fact. For most of our history, we stopped bad things. To really solve the problem of climate, yes, we have to stop bad things, new coal-fired power plants, reckless oil drilling. But we also need to make good things happen. And if we're going to make enough good things happen to solve the climate crisis, We're going to need to manufacture electric cars here in the United States. We're going to need to manufacture batteries here in the United States. So we're going to need to have a wind turbine supply chain here in the United States. That's how we're going to bring our economy back. That's how we're going to bring our national integrity back. And that's how we're going to protect the climate.
What needs to happen in Washington for a climate bill to be reintroduced and to have a chance at passing both chambers and the White House?
Washington is not going to solve this problem. The American people need to solve this problem. It's not what happens in Washington. It's what happens in St. Cloud. It is about the American people saying, look, we know that whether we're Republicans or Democrats, we don't like depending on dirty fossil fuels. We don't like our addiction to coal and oil. And we expect every public official, whether it's a county commissioner, a state legislator, or a member of Congress, to vote with us and to vote against coal and oil and their excessive influence. Coal and oil kill, coal and oil cost, coal and oil corrupt. But we need to stand up to them because they won't go away just because we ask them to nicely. We're going to have to fight.